Good morning. It's great to be with you folks this morning. I'm Reverend Randy Derrick from Little Mountain near Chapin on the other side of the lake. I'm filling in today for Pastor Stephen, who is over at St. John's here in Lexington, not far from here. I was to be over there this morning. I've been helping them on and off sort of part-time all year. And so Pastor Stephen, the Synod asked Stephen to go over there and share with them about team ministry, some opportunities for team ministry over there. And so I'm just so glad to be here with you folks today. Stephen and Deborah and I have been friends a long time through the Synod, through meetings and at the convocation at Luther Ridge for a very, very long time. And so I'm just glad to be here. I retired 3 years ago from Macedonia on the other side of the lake. And so I've been enjoying supplying and visiting other churches. I've been to about 20 different congregations now in the last 3 years. So I've met a lot of great folks and faithful Lutherans and of all ages, and it's really blessed me a whole lot. So I'm from Batesburg, Leesville originally. My sister, Carol S. Sheely, still lives in Batesburg. Our brother lives in Denver, Colorado. He was in Denver during Vietnam. He was Air Force Vietnam and was stationed there and liked the mountains, so he moved out there. So I get to see Fred every few years. And I hope to vacation out there soon. I hadn't been out there to see him in about 10 years. But anyway, lost my wife 7 years ago to breast cancer after a long journey. So I encourage all you ladies to get your checkups and try to stay ahead of things because it's very real. But we keep trusting in the Lord, don't we? Day by day, night and day. Okay. So, beloved, I relearned recently that Father Moses, like us, also had to wear a mask for an extended period of time. We wear our masks because of COVID to keep from getting the virus or from spreading it. But Moses wore his mask so as not to frighten the people when they saw that his face radiated each time he went in to speak with God in the tabernacle. Exodus 34 verses 29 and 30 says that when the high priest Aaron and the Israelite leaders came to talk with Moses after Moses had talked with God, that Moses' face shone so brightly, reflecting God's awesome glory and presence, that the people were literally scared to death and afraid to come near to Moses. So verse 33 of Exodus 34 says that Moses put on a face mask, a veil, so as to cover some of the glowing glory of God, so as to not frighten the Israelites so much when they needed to speak with him. And this continued for some time, according to verse 35 of Exodus chapter 34, because Moses is said to have had to wear the mask all of the time for a long time, except when he went into the cloud of God's presence in the tabernacle. When he went into the cloud of the presence of God, he would take off the veil from his face, and then he would get recharged with God's glory. Beloved, when our Lord Jesus was transfigured today in Luke chapter 9, he also, it seems, removed the veil of his humanity for a short moment and entered into the presence of God on Mount Tabor in Palestine to discuss his coming suffering and passion at the cross of Calvary in just a short time. Father Moses and the prophet Elijah joined Jesus there on the mountaintop as Peter, James, and John looked on. It was a spectacular sight, to say the least. Moses returned from his resting place and from his grave on Mount Nebo across the Jordan River, and Elijah returned from his abode above in heaven's glory, where the horses of the fiery chariot of God had hoisted Elijah away centuries before, took him above to heaven. I'm certain that those three disciples, Peter, James, and John, were never the same after this supernatural spectacle. They were changed. And I appreciate what Deborah said this morning in the children's sermon, that whenever those three disciples saw Jesus being transfigured, saw Jesus being changed, they were changed too. Beloved, it's not too late for us to be changed. That's why we come to church, isn't it? To be changed. This is the tabernacle of God. When we come in here, we can behold His face and we can be changed also. We need to be changed, don't we? St. Peter would later recount this memory in his short letter from Rome to his fellow persecuted and suffering Christian friends throughout the Mediterranean world, when he said in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 18, "We were there with Jesus, and we are eyewitnesses of His majestic presence and glory. And we actually heard the voice of God the Father say, 'This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. He is my chosen one. Listen to Him.'" So in a sense, Christ often wore a physical veil, a physical mask while on the earth in His earthly body. But when He performed His great miracles, His great and loving miracles, and preached His great words of love, forgiveness, and wisdom, His divinity shone through as it did on the mountain that day. And those whose hearts were ready and prepared and open, they beheld it all in an instant. The physical Son of Man, Son of Mary, as well as the eternal divine Son of God, all in one view on the mountaintop. And so, beloved, we too are invited to go to that mountain, to the mountain of God also. We must go there. We are today again invited to go there with Jesus through His Word, through this story. St. Paul says today in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16, that whenever we earnestly go to the Lord in prayer and in confession, the veil, the masks of doubt and fear and sin and earthly sorrow and sadness are taken away. They are removed. Psalm 99, verse 9 says today for us to go to His holy mountain and to extol Him there, to extol His love and His glory. For He is present there to forgive, to strengthen, and to guide us. The holy mountain, Mount Tabor in Palestine. But where is that mountain today? Well, it's still there, but it's also here. It's in here. It's right here. Beloved, the mountain of God where we can see Him and be changed is anywhere, anytime, in a crowd, alone, in danger, in fear, in joy, in happiness. Whenever, wherever we go or are in our hearts, whenever we attempt and endeavor to reach out and touch His shining face and to be with Him in prayer and praise, veil comes off. We behold His presence. That's what church is all about. I promise.